So today I'm going to interview Trang. She's a young Vietnamese woman living here in Vietnam, and we are here in Phan Rang, Minh Thuan, which is a small coastal city here in Vietnam. So why don't you just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, how old you are, and what do you do for work?
Okay, I'm Trang, and I'm really bad at introducing myself. I'm 23 years old. Minh Thuan here is my hometown, and I'm based in Ho Chi Minh City. I'm working as a full-time English teacher.
How long have you been doing that for?
So I just graduated not long ago, and I started teaching a little bit when I was still in school. So I guess the total amount of time that I've been working as a teacher, I would say, would be around almost 2 years.
Did you have any jobs before teaching?
Yeah, I tried out a number of jobs before teaching because I really wasn't sure what I liked to pursue as a career. So I started out as a journalist. I started working for this, I started my internship with this company. It's like with this multimedia company called like etc. It's like a newspaper and like, you know, other sorts of like media company, and I worked there in their international section of the company as a journalist. So I, you know, write articles and conduct interviews.
So we're here at a coffee shop, got a little bit of coffee. Hello. What did you get to drink there, Trang?
I got carrot
Come on, yeah.
juice, a carrot juice with milk.
Nice. I got a black coffee, still dripping in here, and then I got some ice to put in that as well. Did you have any other jobs besides the etc.?
Yeah, after being a journalist, I was jobless for several months because I couldn't find any job that was decent paying. And even though I really wanted to be a content creator, like in writing format, so I just stumbled upon this fresher teacher job that at the time I thought was pretty well paid, and so I just applied and I got the job. That's how I started becoming a teacher. Then after working there for around, I guess, a year, I got burned out with the amount of hours I was picking up at the time compared to the pay range I was receiving. So
How many hours were you working at that job?
I guess I would say I worked 40 hours or more a week at that job. That is not including, I don't remember the specifics that well, but I think that is not including the, you know, the hours that I put into the administrative work and stuff like that.
So what were you, if you don't mind sharing, what were you getting paid at that job for the 40 hours per week?
I think I was getting paid $1,000 a month.
What about after that? Did you have a different job?
Yeah, so after that, while I was still working at that job, I found this interpreting company that was recruiting for medical interpreters, and I just, you know, I thought the salary was attractive, and I thought, you know, why not? I could leverage my fluency in both languages.
Right.
So I just went for it and became a medical interpreter. The interview process and the training process took around one and a half months, and after that I was qualified to be a full-time interpreter.
Was there an increase in pay that came with that job in comparison to your teaching job?
Yeah. The pay was better. Yeah, it was. I would say that it is above average compared to the, you know, usual Vietnamese person salary.
What would you consider the usual Vietnamese person's salary? Because I think there's a pretty big range, right? Like if you go down all the way to like construction worker up to CEO level executive or business owner, it's probably a huge range. But
so I would say the average salary for someone like me, you know, with not so much experience.
yeah, but educated.
Educated, you know, working an office job,
Yeah.
not, you know, like working like labor intensive jobs or stuff like that. I think the pay range would be around somewhere between 10 to 17, 18 million Vietnam dong per month.
Right, so that would be about 400 to like 800-ish dollars per month. How did the interpreting job go? What did you think of that? How long did you work there?
I loved the nature of the job because I was, it kept me on my toes almost. I was able to be sharp and, you know, clever with my language use. It is almost like a customer service job by nature. If you think about how you have to communicate with lots of people and how you are actually like a conduit between like two different languages or like, you know, different language users.
So how long were you with that interpreting company?
It's a little bit of a shame that I didn't stay with the company longer. It was a Malaysian company, and I stayed there for around, say, 4-ish months, because not because of the pay obviously, but because of how the back end part of the company was, you know, doing their job, and also because of the graveyard shift that I was working, which was very stressful and mentally taxing.
If you don't mind, what was the pay difference with that job versus the first teaching job that you had? How much more money were you making, and how were you working the same amount of hours, less hours, more? You mentioned it was graveyard shift, so that must have been pretty tough.
Yeah, so I pretty much worked the same amount of hours in both jobs, but the pay difference was, you know, a few $100s, not much, but I would say that to me it would be, you know, quite a considerable amount of pay increase.
Yeah.
Considering that it was only my second job.
So you stopped that job, and then what did you do after that?
And then I was jobless for more.
To be fair, you were still going through school during these jobs, right?
Yeah, but I would say that was lacking, you know, in school. I'm not proud of that, but that's probably why I could have like left school sooner. So maybe that's an excuse for me to like say that I'm making money while still in school. I don't know, but yeah, I was jobless for another like, you know, 2-3 months, and at that time I really regret not, you know, like prepping myself going into a different job or getting like an offer letter before I officially left the company. But I had some time off to, I guess, cool down, travel a little bit here and there, you know, and spend time with my family. So that was all good. And then I decided that I would go back into teaching, because I guess I did the math, and I figured that if I'm paid an hourly salary and working 8 hours a day, I would still be making more than interpreting 8 hours a day. And I didn't want to do like a stationary job where I have to sit at a desk all day. Even though, to be fair, I got the flexibility of working remotely, which means that I can travel anywhere I want. But yeah, so I thought that getting back into teaching for me at that point would be the best option, and so I went and did that. I got like a teaching certificate. I got a language proficiency certificate as well. And
what proficiency was that? That was the IELTS exam, right?
mm-hmm.
And what did you score on that?
So the first time I had my IELTS exam, I only got like an 8. And I thought like an 8.0, that, you know. So I thought that was a little bit disappointing. So I wanted to, like, you know, set the exam again, and so I got like 8.5 this time, the second time. And I got a part-time job teaching at a center, and so that is how I gradually eased myself back into teaching.
Was there a financial motivation for retaking the test and trying to get a higher score?
Yeah, definitely. There's like a direct link between having a higher IELTS score and, you know, getting in more money.
Is that just for like an English teacher, or would that apply to other jobs too?
I think that would apply for other jobs too, especially for employees working for international companies, or or working in positions directly related to their English proficiency.
Right.
So say, for example, if you're an interpreter, or if you are working for I don't know, I guess like MNC, you know, multinational company, corporation, stuff like that, then yeah, that would be a competitive edge.
Maybe even hospitality, where you're
yeah,
working,
exactly,
yeah, tourists
hospitality.
and
That's pretty much true. Yeah.
Do you consider teaching to be a career or just a job?
I consider it a job, not a career. I just, maybe I'm sounding a little bit too pessimistic, but I don't think that the fact that it's bringing in money for me at this point guarantees financial security in the future. And so I think that is a stepping stone to advance to other, you know, positions that are related to, you know, the education field, but not doing the same teaching job.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is a stepping stone career for you, so, or a stepping stone job, and you're very young, 23 you mentioned, so I think, you know, you've still got a long way to go with regards to developing a career. It seems like at this point, most of your job choices have been motivated by maximizing the amount of money you can make, which that makes sense. I think a lot of us are motivated by the same thing.
I think that is also like a characteristic of, you know, the Generation Z. That is, we are motivated by environment, by work environment, work ethics, and pay. So there's people in the past would just find one job, that one specialized job, and stick with that job, and that would be their career. But for us, most of us work at, you know, companies, or work at one particular workplace for, I guess, at max 2 years, and then we would just like hop to different jobs. And every time, I don't know about other people, but every time I quit a job and I'm, you know, get into a different company or get another job, it's financially motivated. And also, you know, to look for further, you know, workplace freedom and flexibility.
If I'm not mistaken, the name Phan Rang, does it have something to do with like the wind? So that's the city that we're in is called Phan Rang. What does it mean? Do you know the meaning of it?
Yeah, so Phan and Rang. Rang is like roasting almost. So like the sun is like roasting you. The heat of the sun is like roasting you. And then the wind is like blowing at your face, or like, you know, slapping at your face. So like Phan, you know, like give someone a slap or a punch in the face.
So like slapping wind.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in this video the wind is definitely slapping at the camera, so I apologize for any wind noise. So is there some sort of career or maybe dream job that you have, or are you still trying to figure that out?
Yeah, it's kind of sad for me to realize that I don't really have like a passion or anything, and that is also part of the reason why my you know, like career path so far has been pretty erratic, like all over the place. But I kind of have a vague outline of what I want to do as what I want to pursue as a career, and I think it would be something related to education. But then I don't want to be like teaching my entire life. I don't think that would be very mentally stimulating for me.
What is the thing that you like the most about teaching, and then what's the thing you dislike the most about teaching?
I like it because of the pay.
Yeah.
But I guess that won't be, you know, teaching related.
Well, that's fine. I mean, that's
like
what you like about the job, yeah.
Yeah, so what I like about the job would be, I don't know, I hate it when people ask me questions like, what are your favorite foods, or like, you know, because I don't know when I'm like asked on the spot like that. All right, I think I like being able to impart knowledge onto people. You know, it's a satisfying feeling when, you know, someone don't know something and then you teach them something interesting, and then, you know, like they make it into their own knowledge. And I guess like something like if you're a good teacher, when they look back, they will think about you as like someone who's helped them develop.
Conversely, what's the thing that you dislike most about the job?
I don't really enjoy having to walk around or having to stand all the time.
So it's in-person teaching. I'm sorry, I wanted to clarify that. Your interpreter job was fully online, and then that's how it gave you that remote capability, working wherever. But this teaching job, is it online or in person? Is it both?
So it's more of like a hybrid mode of teaching, where you can either teach online or offline depending on, you know, the student's needs. But still, that doesn't guarantee you as much flexibility in terms of location.
So most of what you don't like about the teaching job happens on the in-person side of it, right? With regards to kind of the standing and...
So yeah, it's about, you know, the physical aspect of the job, and also because I have to talk a lot. So that is, you know, both online and offline. It's just the nature of the job that you have to talk, and you have to interact with people a lot. So that is sometimes exhausting. And so even if you're teaching online, or if you're working remotely but you're teaching, you know, it still has the same effect on you. You still have to like communicate with people, and you still have to speak a lot.
Interested to hear what the job market's like here in Vietnam. Was it really difficult for you to find a job? I know there's sort of like a economic regression to a certain degree going on. So how hard is it to find a job, and what sorts of jobs do you see like most people your age gearing towards, or, you know, looking at?
So it was definitely hard, and it is still tough trying to find a job because of the economic recession hitting the economy. So it was tough for me to find a job, even though I had certificates and, you know, I had the ability. I think as for the kinds of jobs that people my age or people my generation are geared towards, I would assume it would be like digital marketing, you know, occupations. A lot of kids now are teaching. I wouldn't say kids. A lot of, you know,
young adults
now are teaching, like me, and You know, just more like non-conventional occupations as opposed to like the more, you know, traditional jobs that you would find, like being doctors or being, you know, I guess lawyers and stuff like that. Even being teachers nowadays is not the same as like being teachers in the past. So I can definitely see, you know, a disparity between like my occupation as a teacher and my mom's occupation as a teacher. So it's very different. So I would consider teaching nowadays to be non-conventional.
So your mom is she was a high school teacher, right, here in Phan Rang?
Yes, she used to be a middle school, high school physics teacher. She's retired now, and you know, it's really different because like she has to teach like in, you know, Vietnamese public schools. So that means handling larger classes, teaching in person only, and you know, a lot of like admin work related. You know, you didn't have a TA. I don't think high schools nowadays have TAs still.
So you don't work at like a public school, you work at where?
I work at like you know, different English centers, and I'm also teaching part-time at a university.
Are there any sort of like culturally unique aspects to finding a job or having a job here in Vietnam, or maybe the expectations of your family or parents or Vietnamese culture in general with regards to your career and your career path?
So this is my opinion, but I assume that Asian culture nowadays is, you know, more open towards novel concepts and, you know, more open towards novelty in general. But overall, Asian parents or Asian families would expect children to go into a particular profession, have a determined and, you know, like well planned out career path, and, you know, kind of stick to a stable job. But I think that that notion is slowly dissolving nowadays, with the fact that, you know, kids are doing what they want, you know. We don't care so much as to what society considers, you know, good and bad anymore. And as I just mentioned, that parents are also more open to, you know, new ideas or new ways of working. So the dynamics has changed a lot. I would say here in Vietnam, because, you know, I'm working in Vietnam, and I think that would be the same elsewhere. You know, that could characterize, you know, the entire economy elsewhere, like in Asia.
Yeah, so that's probably why you're seeing a lot of, like you mentioned, your peers and people your age going towards digital marketing and different creative jobs, or maybe just different jobs that are sort of alternative from the traditional, like you said, doctor or lawyer, or careers that maybe the older generations were kind of saying this is what you should do, or, you know, these are the clear paths to success that you should take. So what do you think is the number one most important skill that someone can cultivate here in Vietnam in order to, you know, maximize their career potential or earning potential?
I wouldn't say that's a skill, as like, I don't think this is a tangible skill that you can name. This is more like there's a word for it. Maybe you can tell me what it is, but I forgot. But it's their learning capabilities, their ability to learn as they go.
Adaptability?
Yeah, I guess you can say adaptability. Yeah. So I think that is for me, that is the number one most important if you can call it a skill, and being able to adapt to the job market and being able to maximize your potential to grow your income. I think it's because, you know, in today's like job market, it's not so much as like, you know, you can have these 5 skills and then like you would be hired by, you know, most companies. It's not like that anymore. It's something more like we are discovering, people are like gaining new skills every day. You know, companies are requiring or are looking for people with more skills, you know, as, you know, like, I guess, as the market grows, if the market grows. So if you don't have adaptability, or if you do not have a learning mentality, it's really hard for you to pick up new skills, and then you would be just stuck with, you know, these like resources that you have.
Right.
And then you would become outdated, you know, what you have will be obsolete very quickly. So for example, in the past, being a teacher means being able to plan out, you know, a lesson plan, and then like kind of like a teaching curriculum. But now being a teacher also involves a lot of marketing, especially when you're working for, you know, like a private school or like, you know, a center. Because without marketing, you cannot, you know, bring in more students. You cannot prove your ability to be able to like teach well, or to be able to convey knowledge, you know, in the most like lively and engaging way. And yeah, students nowadays are really demanding in terms of like, because they pay for what they pay for, and because they pay money and they expect to like
Get results.
get, you know, results, really changeable and really like, you know, really changeable results and high expectations. So yeah, that is how I'm seeing that. That is one example of how you need to like learn how to market yourself, right?
Be adaptable.
Yeah. So there's more to that, but yeah, I think that is, and I would like to think that I'm smart enough where I can really learn things quickly, and I think that has helped me a lot in adapting to new work environments and adapting to different professions that are somewhat connected but not the same thing. So if I didn't have adaptability, I wouldn't be able to switch from being an interpreter or being a journalist to being an interpreter to being a teacher. So I would be stuck in one, you know, just direction, and I would not be able to maximize my abilities or maximize my opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah, that's really well put, because when I was thinking of that, when I thought of the question, I sort of had, this is what I expect the answer to be, and it was speaking English. I thought that was just like the hard skill that would be, you know, the straightforward answer. But I think I like your answer a lot better, because that makes a lot more sense. And learning English as well as you have, it kind of touches on, you know, your ability to be adaptable, and what you said, I like, you put it really well, is that it's being able to be open to learning new things, and to, yeah, just be able to adapt to an ever dynamic environment. I want to ask you one more question, and what do you think are the biggest challenges for young people, or for anyone in today's job market here in Vietnam?
Wow. I think the biggest challenge would be a combination of various factors, including the economy and how the economy is doing right now. Also, you know, to the workforce, the amount of like labor or human resource you have. which is making the job market more saturated. And yeah, I kind of forgot about the other aspects, but I think that the biggest challenge would be being patient and really this is tough. Being patient, when I say being patient, I mean I think of myself when I give you that answer, because I'm an impatient person, and I also see that as like a general propensity, and in my peers, we switch jobs quite regularly, and we are not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, but we are pretty demanding when it comes to like work environment, our social circles, our managers, our expectations as work, stuff like that, compensation, so I think if you're patient, you can really maximize your gainings when you're working at a particular workplace before leaving that workplace to move on to a different working environment. So for example, if you're working, it takes around 3 to 6 months to really get to know a particular job, and to really be able to do that without much effort. So to ease into it, it takes 3 or 6 months. And so if you're not patient enough and you quit after like a month of training, a month of probation, or you quit after a year, then you're not there long enough to be able to learn new things that you can potentially learn from other people and from your position. And it also means that it also comes off as a negative thing where you are not committed and you don't have the capability to be patient and to be dedicated to something.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think in today's world, people want things quickly, and they tend to be impatient, willing to wait for things. It's sort of I see this thing and I want it now, and I expect to have it quickly. That is probably a big challenge for people. It's just remaining disciplined and knowing that things don't happen overnight, that you do have to work at things for a while in order to realize your full potential within whatever profession it is that you're in. Well, Trang, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking with you about your job and the overall job market here in Vietnam.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasant talk. I hope that my experience can be somewhat valuable to you, and please don't take my words seriously because I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right, take it all with a grain of salt, or maybe here in Vietnam, take it all with a spoonful of fish sauce. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked that vlog about Trang's job and the overall job market here in Vietnam. And I echo what she said. I hope you guys got some value from it and learned something. If you did like the video, click the like button, subscribe to the channel to support the growth, and leave any comments you have. I'm really happy to hear from you all. And I'll see you all in the next vlog. Peace.